The influence he had on music has lasted for decades.
Chef is one of those guys that is transcendent of any artistic category.
He touched the lives of some of rock's biggest stars.
He was the man in the 70s. I mean, well, should I say he was the chef.
Yet he never recorded an album. He never even cashed a royalty check.
He was just one of the greatest, coolest guys around, you know.
It's unbelievable what Chef has done for me.
And just when he'd settled into an idyllic life of steam table days and steamy nights, the music world had one more surprise for Chef.
Uh-oh.
Tonight, the triumph, the tragedy, the tuna casserole of Chef, as Comedy Central takes you behind the menu.
Chef is
Totally a ladies' man.
Large, humble,
understanding,
Phenomenal,
compassionate,
inspiring.
great, special, and magical. That's Chef.
In the world of rock and roll, Jerome Chef McElroy gained fame through his Salisbury steak and sensuous song stylings. His cooking and singing gave inspiration to most of the 70s best-known rock acts. After turning his apron on the concert scene, he lived a quiet life in a small Colorado town until, seeking recognition for the theft of a song he had written 20 years before, he found himself on the losing end of a pricey lawsuit. In this, his darkest hour, the rock world he spent a lifetime feeding would join together for Chef Aid, a tribute to an old friend. This is Chef's story, told through the memories of those who knew him best, and the chef himself.
Shoot, I was never popular. I never sold 1,000,000 records either. I just made a lot of other people popular.
brings tears to my eyes when I think about it, how much Chef has influenced me.
I mean, he's the #1 influence on everything we've ever done.
From a Meat Loaf to a flea, Chef's influence was legendary.
I was a 155-pound folk singer. Really just kind of going nowhere. I was doing covers of Peter, Paul, and Mary.
He basically started my entire music career.
So Chef was cooking his famous Meat Loaf. And he set it down in front of me and he said, I want you to eat this, I want you to gain weight. And I started eating it and he goes, that's it. You gain weight, we'll call you Meat Loaf.
That's right.
I first met Chef in the summer of 1975. I got a gig as a roadie on the Fog Hat Fool for the City tour.
Chef provided the touring rock stars with a hot meal and often something more substantial.
On the road, Chef was our chef. Yeah.
Indirectly, we all try to emulate him. Personally, I never purposely thought, oh, I'll try and emulate that part of Chef, but because it was too obvious, you know.
Years ago, back when I was living in Mississippi and Chef was living in Memphis, Tennessee, you know, he played piano also. He helped me write the first rock and roll record in history, Rock in '88. He just had great ideas, man.
You and me and her, simultaneous you and me and you, simultaneous loving, baby, 2 or 3.
I used to follow his pelvic thrusts as a kind of like a metronome.
And he put the roll in rock and roll.
Everything I've ever done has pretty much been a direct theft of Chef's genius.
All the stuff you hear me do came off Chef's tape.
I think that's illegal.
Chef helped name many bands or rename them, actually. You know, I mean, they all start out with a name. It's not like hey, we got no name. They just, you know.
Chili Peppers thing was his idea. First of all, we we're sort of stumbling around. We were originally called Tony, Flo, and the Miraculously Majestic Masters of Mayhem. And Chef came in one day and we were playing. And he was like, hey, you boys, I'm out. He just told us, I'm out here in the back cooking with Red Hot Chili Peppers. And we were like, what a great idea for a band name.
He digs on the food names, you know. He did hot tuna, you know. He just named them after a dish. Hot tuna. They actually wanted to call them hot tuna with peas. They just went hot tuna, cut off the peas part. It's easier on a marquee, you know what I mean?
It's funny because Joe had told me a similar story about how the Clash got their name.
Chef came in and he looked at us and everybody was wearing like crimson and mauve and lime yellow. And he went, oh, you guys, your clothes, they just clash. And that's the moment that we said, we're not going to be the Gentlemen anymore. We're going to be the Clash. And from that moment on, everything changed for us.
Just Chef, man. Chef just had this vibe, you know.
Just being able to tap into Chef's idea of what art is, you know, it was as close to God as I've ever been.
He really make my music sound real good, and he don't even know it. Thank you, Chef. I love you.
Coming up later, a behind-the-menu video presentation from the Chef Aid album, Master P with Kenny's Dead.
It's funny, it's a lot of humor in it, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, Chef's influences are, uncountable, really.
His music was just absolutely kick-ass, man.
I tend to hum Chef's music in my head quite often.
While no official recordings were ever made of Chef's music, bootlegs of his legendary sound do exist.
First time I heard Chef was on a bootleg of Love Gravy.
Expressing love so sweet.
I mean, this boot was passed around from engineer to engineer for like 2 decades, man. They laid it down on reel to reel, all right, and then they pressed it to vinyl, they pulled it back down onto an 8-track, then a cassette, then a CD, and now it's been remastered to that. Oh!
Somebody was in my car one day and they had a Chef tape. They put it in, and I said, "What the hell is this?" And it was Chef.
Like all true masters, he's always been slightly ahead of his time, so people haven't really understood his complexities until years later.
From punk to metal, the 80s changed the music scene.
You know, back when me and the guys from Twisted Sister were starting out, there was this guy around the scene, Chef. And he was such an inspiration to us in our music. We drew so much, we took so much from him. He got us pointed in the right direction, and then he just disappeared.
Well, I was moving on up in the business, you know, when along came that Twisted Sister crap, and I just went on and quit the music business.
I'm glad he quit. I'm glad he quit, though. I'm glad he quit the music, because he gave us all a chance, because we had no chance before.
Chef, where are you? We're waiting for you to come back.
A disillusioned Chef headed west.
I was heading to Las Vegas to work at Circus at the all-you-can-eat buffet.
Sadly, a career under the buffet big top was not to be.
My car ran out of gas in South Park. Well, I took a job to earn some gas money, and after a while, I kind of liked it, and I decided to stay.
For years, Chef lived a quiet, small-town life until one day, his world was shattered.
I can't bear to see that.
We got a fax from Elton John, and he told us of Chef's problems.
It was such a painful day that day.
So immediately we helicoptered back to the coast and contacted Chef immediately.
Chef's problems began when he heard his old music on a new hit record. Recognizing each note as his own, Chef didn't demand cold hard cash. He only wanted his props.
So many songs seem to sound familiar. There are only so many notes to go around. They're not inventing new ones.
I was completely repulsed that the industry would have such disrespect for such a great figure.
Charged with harassing Capitalist Records, the lawsuit against Chef was devastating.
The judgment, which was in excess of $2 million, made an absolute mockery of our judicial system.
Well, when we found out that Chef was having a legal problem, we were just
sickened,
shocked, and stunned.
This was not a case about one chef in one small Colorado town, all right? This was a case that represented we as a people, the Americans as a unit. Liberty, justice, the freedom to do what we want to do, sing if we want to sing, not sing if we don't want to sing, cook, not cook. This is why I went into paralaw in the first place.
Mr. Chef, you've been found guilty of harassing a major record label. The full fee of $2 million will be handed over within 24 hours.
They came from all corners of the music world in this Chef's hour of need.
Did you know some of the biggest stars in the music world gathered in South Park to help an old friend? Yes, they put on a benefit concert to be made into an album called Chef Aid. I heard that Chef was thrilled when all his rock pals showed up to help him. He said it's the most fun he's had since Katie Couric. And you know, she loves his Salisbury steak too.
I know he's going through hard times right now. We're doing this Chef Aid thing for him.
Being part of Chef Aid really, signifies what the '90s are about. You know, it's a group of people coming together to support a common goal.
I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it because, you know, anything I can do to help this man out.
You know, I was one of the first people to get on board for the chef aid, you know, when I heard he was having all the financial problems. And so here I am. You know, friends ought to be used, not misused, and I'm here for chef.
I got on the horn. I called the most greatest prominent chefs around. We went to farms, we went to chicken coops, we got the green beans, we got it all. We put on the most elaborate spread you could think of.
Oh, man. I want to tell you something. When people first heard that Chef was in trouble, man, they lined up around the block to help him out, man. I mean, it's been a real rock and soul reunion, you know.
Okay, thanks for coming to Chef Aid, everybody. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Chef Aid was recorded for a CD, which arrives in stores soon and features Rancid,
California sun has sunk, banana.
Joe Strummer,
But it's a rockin' world, make no mistake about it.
Primus,
The Crystal Method and Ozzy Osbourne.
Ain't nowhere to run, 'cause I'll be running this. Ain't nowhere to hide. Come on.
Ween,
Many colors in the homo rainbow. Don't be afraid to let your colors shine.
and Elton John.
Wake up when the smell of coffee.
I just think it's going to be a fantastically successful album. I hope so, you know, for everyone's sake.
If he was to phone me up now and say, clean my boots, I'll be there, man. I'll be cleaning his shoes for him. He's the coolest.
I'd do anything with the chef, so I may even pawn some of my jewelry for him, you know.
While his music and his meatballs are legendary, Chef's real passion is passion.
You know, he had so many amazing women around him. You know, he was the man of the 70s.
Next on Behind the Menu.
He taught us how to make the ladies love the music a little bit more.
He'd be sitting there giving the chicks the one line. As soon as the chef walked in, it was all over, baby. They were running to him.
So he sat me down and he said, Diener, you got to keep it real for the ladies.
Chef was a man who was no stranger to the gentle curves of a ladle or a lady.
Chef's greatest appeal is that he's plugged directly into the spinal core of where love meets funk.
He taught me a lot about sex, too. He taught me about how to make love to a woman. You know, all the techniques.
When a man loves a woman and a woman loves a man. Actually, sometimes a man doesn't love the woman, but he acts like he does in order to get some action. The magic starts to happen, and the two take off their clothes. That's right.
Because Chef was the man, you know, and we used to hang around Chef just to get near the women, you know.
Oh, man, it's unbelievable. Chef had women falling at his feet. And, I don't know, he'd touch them, they melt, you know. When I grew up, I want to be just like Chef.
After the Chef had finished with the women, they weren't very workable, you know. He thought he'd do a number on them, you know. Very active in his day.
Damn, woman. I just gave you sweet loving 5 minutes ago. You trying to kill me?
Chef can make me come just by sitting across the room and winking.
The chef's greatest appeal is those big, soft, smooth lips.
Chef's greatest appeal is his Salisbury steak.
If Chef's first love is love, then food is his mistress.
He's got a good piece of beef there, you know, and he likes to cook some good beef, man. It's good.
He made it with these little teeny potatoes, man. I mean, how could a potato get that small?
In my opinion, the essence of Chef is BAM! It's just that. It's BAM!
My first job in the music business was doing catering for Sly and the Family Stone.
Cooking gigs with many of the era's greatest acts soon followed, and Chef's Dijon potato salad was served at the first Stone Soul picnic and caused many to hurry down.
Famous Amos has the cookies. Well, I think if Chef pursued the Salisbury steak with some conviction, he could be the next famous Amos of the Salisbury steak world.
If he walks away today, Chef's legacy would be good food, a good heart, and a dirty apron. And those little teeny potatoes, man.
Coming up, a Behind the Menu video presentation from the Chef Aid album, Master P with Kenny's Dead.
We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight.
when we return with Behind the Menu. Jerome Chef McElroy doesn't give many interviews. He's content to let his cooking and his music speak for him.
When I hear him singing, I want to sing like him. He has this deep voice, like, you know, I'm gonna make love to you, baby.
Low voice, before Barry White even, he was the man, he was happening.
I was born into a musical family. I'm fluent on guitar, piano, bass, sax, French horn, but my main instrument is voice and balls.
It just made me feel like, real butterfly, just happy.
When I hear Chef sing, I'm transported to an ethereal plane. It's as if I'm swimming inside music. It's as if I lose control of my body, I forget where I am, I leave my body, and I'm just floating.
We're all special in our own way. Everybody's different, but that's okay. Cause even though we might have different color skin, different points of views, be tall or thin, it doesn't mean I can't lay you down, woman, and touch your silky skin. Put my love deep inside you while no man has ever been.
It's a remarkable thing that one person can bring that much joy to the world.
To paraphrase Sweet, if I may, Chef is like oxygen. You get too much, you get too high, not enough, and you're gonna die. Chef gets you high, baby. You know what I mean? Chef.
Chef's final course has not yet been served, but thanks to the outpouring of love and support from all his friends, and the proceeds from Chef Aid, of course, for now, Chef remains safely behind the menu.
If we didn't have Chef in the world, soul would be governed by Michael Bolton.
Well, I think music without Chef, it may be rock, but it wouldn't be rolling. Like rolling on the river.
Without Chef, it would just be like an empty cereal bowl. Nothing.
Popular music would be unpopular.
The world without Chef would be a horrible, miserable place.
A world without Chef would be like a dull, gray, barren moonscape with tumbleweed blowing through, all dry and brittle, and no lush rivers oozing love and sincerity. It would just be unthinkable. Don't horrify me with a question like that.
All y'all need Chef in your life, because he just make it better for the world.
There was only one Beatles, there was only one Chef, there was only one Elvis.
He was the man, he was happening.
I just feel privileged and honored and really, really just amazingly fortunate to have been in his dharma.
They say that, show business, it's all in who you know, and I know Chef.
Oh, Chef was a movie that I scored back in 1971. I won an Oscar for it. It was about a black private...
No, Chef.
Who?
And now, direct from the Chef Aid album, Master P with Kenny's Dead.
Just doing my part, you know what I'm saying, and keeping it real, and I wanted to put a more realism side to what's going on.
Times have been tough since I lost my job. This is my last quarter, son. I want you to take it to Las Vegas, and I want you to win $1,000. Don't come back without any dadgum winnings.
This Master P. I'm down here in South Park. I just put $1 million reward up for any information on anybody who know who killed Kenny. You heard? We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny's dead. We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We got to ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny started messing up, hanging with the thugs, cutting class in the fast sex and see weed and drugs. And I guess that's how it is when the ghetto got you trapped. But Kenny ain't scared. He seen his pops get his lips in. People lying they teeth on South Park Street. Oh, the was chillin', everybody run from the police. But what I liked about Kenny, he wasn't no crip or no blood. And he mumble when he talk, but he love that bud. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died. school, but at night he did crime. 211, let's hit it up. It's like a hobby. Kenny slowed his roll, he did 3 years for a robbery. Some say Kenny was the poorest kid on the streets. But picture this, Kenny with about these knees and a couple of keys. Serving the dope fiend, standing on the corner. Moving from New Orleans to Arizona. But it was a trip, Kenny always wondered how he would die. Would it be a car crash, a plane, a gun, or suicide? He knew one day that the rats would come, but he didn't know they was gonna scream body body to hit him with a shotgun. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We gotta ride tonight.
Well, Kenny should be back any minute now with those winnings.
My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. That's what I said. We gotta ride tonight. My little homie Kenny died tonight. Kenny's dead. We gotta ride tonight.
You know, Kathy Lee, you are a very special woman. I don't mean special in a Mary Tyler Moore way or an extra value meal at Happy Burger way. No, I mean special. Like the song of the hummingbird as it gets ready to find that female hummingbird and make sweet love to it all night long. Just two hummingbirds moaning and groaning, letting their bodies caress and touch each other in ecstasy. Hey man, how long am I got to sit here and listen to this bullshit? Huh? Somebody tell me.
So show your support and look for the Chef Aid CD in stores soon.